And also, the agency has reminded taxpayers to make sure all of their personal information and tax documents are correct to ensure a smooth filing process. Otherwise, you're going to encounter delays or receive an inaccurate refund. You also want to try to avoid numerical or calculation errors when filing out the paperwork. The IRS appears to be in a better position to process returns quickly than in prior crisis years, so hopefully people get the stimulus checks. More relief checks have been approved, everybody. 5 states have announced new information on next batches of stimulus payments, and these payments may be worth as much as $1,500. New delivery dates have also been proposed, so be sure to keep watching this if you want to get your stimulus cash, because a handful of states still have stimulus payments available to you. Some are distributing outstanding payments to residents who applied before deadlines have since passed, but others are still open and accepting applications as well. For instance, folks, Alaska's permanent dividend filing season is now open for 2023. Residents can file their applications online through March 31st or visit one of the state's offices to apply in person. This fund often sends eligible Alaska residents thousands of dollars every year. Plus, a one-time relief check could be worth as much as $3,300 and already been sent out to many residents. And there's a new proposed amendment to the Alaska Constitution. It could restructure the permanent fund. And representatives of Anchorage alongside lawmakers from both sides have a plan for this. A very good plan for this, that is. If an amendment passes, then both accounts that compromise the permanent fund will be subject to constraints, limiting how much the account balance can be spent on. But now, Representative Grow emphasized that under current rules, lawmakers could spend the entire permanent fund earnings with a simple majority vote. This amendment will combine the 2 accounts that constitute the permanent fund, the earnings reserve and the principal, to create a single constitutionality project account. It would restrict lawmakers from spending no more than 5% of the market value of the account using a percent of the market value system. Eligible Massachusetts residents can still claim their share of the state's taxpayer refund program, thanks to a revenue surplus. Qualified residents will get a little bit more back and 14% of tax liability for the year, and that's as long as they file by September 15. Residents can expect to receive the refunds about 1 month after they file, and also recipients of the Chelsea Eats program in Chelsea, Massachusetts have a very limited time to get that money. Eligible New Jersey residents, for instance, were also required to submit the anchor property tax relief applications by February 28th, and qualifying renters will receive $450, and qualifying homeowners will receive up to $1,500. All payments will be made by check or direct deposit, no later than May. So if you have a stimulus check, you could be getting it very, very soon. Just make sure to qualify for it. Now, first of all, I also want to say a bill providing $750 rebates for individual taxpayers. Married couples filing jointly will get $1,500 checks, and also, it was previously approved in a Senate committee and can be poised to advance quickly if the governor does so. The measure Senate Bill 10 will provide rebate checks to an estimated 875,000 tax filers around the state, regardless of the income level. But that number also includes married couples, meaning the number of amount of adults receiving financial relief on the proposal could even be higher. State Taxation Revenue Secretary Stephanie Chardon Clark told reporters that the agency could start processing rebate checks as soon as the next 6 weeks, after the bill is signed by the governor. Legislators already announced and approved several rounds, so this could be the final round of stimulus for the people in that state.
Choice. Do we want a federal government that is there when we need a hand? Or do we want a government that will preach to us, sorry, you're on your own, Mr. Taxpayer? Do we want a government that is farsighted enough to plant the American flag on new industries and inventions for the future? Or do we plan on leaving these transformative discoveries, the moonshots of this century, to China? President Biden told us last week where he stands on these basic questions when he proposed his budget to Congress. It's a plan that protects Social Security, strengthens Medicare, and adds 25 years of additional solvency to the Medicare program.
Folks, we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you definitely don't want to miss out on this. An update on the status of President Biden's Build Back Better package. Schumer and Manchin are ready to use the budget reconciliation process to pass the next bill, without any GOP support, that is. This can mean guaranteed monthly stimulus checks. It has been several months since Democrats began negotiations over President Biden's proposal of social and climate spending package, which is part of the Build Back Better Act. At the center of the debate stands 2 centrists, which are Manchin and Sinema, who have both shared what they oppose in the Build Back Better plan, ranging from prescription prices and debt controls to monthly checks to parents. In a fresh glimmer of hope, Manchin is now saying that there is another way for President Biden's bill to pass. According to the White House officials, it's likely that Manchin and other Democrats will use the budget reconciliation process to pass the package again. However, a few major parts may be taken out. Manchin told Axios that his recent talks with Chuck Schumer about a package on climate have been encouraging to a certain extent. Manchin has previously supported some of Biden's proposals for tax hikes, including an increase to the corporate tax rate. Manchin told Axios that he'd still like to see the corporate rate rise to 25%, but initially proposed 28% instead. Manchin will settle for a domestic minimum rate of 15%, and that's a proposal that Senator Sinema previously backed. A key hurdle to Manchin's chief tax goal is Sinema. She is adamantly opposed to increasing tax rates on the rich and large corporations, all but undoing a Democratic effort to roll back the former president's tax cuts. Manchin's comments indicate that the two could strike a deal and potentially move a spending package forward, but at the expense of keeping the former president's tax cuts in place. Representative Omar said in a statement that we as a nation have the ability to make sure everyone has their basic needs met. So, if Omar's legislation passes, it would send out payments of at least $1,200 to adults and half the amount to children, individuals making over $75,000, and joint filers with incomes above $150,000. Millions of Americans could finally be receiving an even larger monthly benefit payment very soon. Top Democrats and Republicans are working together to help more Social Security beneficiaries and senior citizens financially during the crisis. I know many of you are wondering how you can boost your monthly Social Security benefit payments. Social Security retirement benefits have kept millions of seniors out of poverty. But while retirement benefits are well known and much anticipated, they are not the only kind of payments older Americans could be eligible for. It's best to understand all the different kinds of checks that you could potentially receive.
Great to have you here today, Joe. It's just going to keep going higher. What do you say? What's going to happen here?
Oh, I think we're just getting started. I think we will see national average prices sometime between July and August of $5.50 on retail gasoline nationwide and $6 in diesel. I mean, I think the points I'd like to make today are Jamie Dimon was correct. There is a hurricane coming. The eye of that hurricane is energy. And there's really very little we can do about it now, except Washington's trying to look like they're concerned and doing something, but the die is cast. We're using about 18 million barrels to 19 million barrels a day, which is slightly down. There is some rationing going on, at least in the gasoline market. Not significant rationing, but over time, as people change their habits, there will be. But and the other point I would make is